So one of the things that's cool about back bends is that it opens our heart. And there's so much about the world right now that can very easily dampen down the light within each of us. And it's really, really important to keep your light alive. Hope is vital to us being the change we wish to see in the world. And so when you start to feel yourself dimming because of everything that's happening, the overwhelm of 2020, and the tidal wave that came before 2020 that has pushed us into the scenario that we're in now, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. So I remember when my kids were little, they would be nervous and scared to pick up the phone and make a phone call, like to, I don't know, make a reservation at the restaurant. I would make them make the phone call to have them practice having courage to put yourself out there and speak up. And I think it's really important that we practice the little things that scare us all the time. A few weeks ago, I climbed a tree. I have a very big fear of heights, and I was walking in the park and I just decided to climb way high in a tree. And I think it's important anytime you feel that you're afraid of something, that you face it on little doses on a regular basis, so that when you come to the big facing, you have that stoutness of heart in order to stand up for whatever you're standing up for. So it's the small practices, and our yoga practice is part of these small practices of keeping our heart broad and open so we don't shrink away from the challenges that are in front of us. So what I want you to think about when you're backbending is, first and foremost, to be very safe in your body. So as with anything that can go into an extreme range of motion, bending your back backwards is definitely an extreme range of motion and not something we do on a regular basis. Most of our actions are this way in our spine instead of this way in our spine. So obviously they counteract a lot of the day-to-day slumping that we do, which is beautiful. But because we don't often move in that direction, we have to be even that much more careful when we do move to move within our range of motion and not before. So when we are trying to extend our spine backwards, we want to make sure, like any movement of the spine, that we have space between the discs. If you're smushed up, especially in the lumbar spine, if you're smushed up on your vertebrae and you try to bend backwards, you're just going to compress things that shouldn't be compressed. So first and foremost, we want to elongate the spine and support the spine with our muscular strength so that when we come into an extension of the spine, it feels good. It doesn't feel compressive or slumping on the back. It feels spacious and free. So live within your range of motion. Do not go past your range of motion. Some of the ways that you can tell that you've gone past your range of motion, besides having a backache after back bends, is if you have a headache after back bends. So be very mindful to stay within your plane, color in your lines, right? Stay in the zone, but expand within that zone. So make sure you're filling yourself up to the capacity that you can. The last thing I want to say about back bends is breath is really important. So if we're trying to open ourselves up, what's the best thing that happens when our chest is open? We breathe really deeply. So let the two kind of go hand in hand, where our open chest equals our deep breath, and the two can feed each other to bring that stout heart and light into our embodiment. So we want that energy feeling of broadness, expansiveness, energy flow. And this comes primarily through the breath. All right, so what do you need courage for? Close your eyes. Think about that. What are the little tiny inoculations that you can fit into your day where you face something you're afraid of? And build your courage, build your resiliency, your stout heart, that capacity to face what you need to face and to have hope in the process. So think about something that frightens you a bit, and what can you do today? Just today, a simple little thing. It doesn't have to be, jumping out of a plane. It could be making a phone call to your congressman. It can be sharing a message of hope and love with someone Doesn't matter what it is. Can you offer small things into the world to help you grow your light and then spark the light of others? So let's feel our roots drop down into the pelvis. Feel a groundedness. Notice where your pelvis is landing. Do you tend to tip forward and have a little extra arching in your lumbar spine? Do you tend to roll backward and have a little less arching in your lumbar spine? And just see where you naturally sit. And feel the spine grow. See if you can create a nice neutral spine. So if you tend to overcorrect, see what you can do to support the neutral lumbar curve. And find yourself growing, expanding. See if you can feel that your discs are, your vertebrae can float on your discs, that there's spaciousness, ease, a sense of shock absorption and rebound possible, because we're not just a pile of bones. There's so much supporting us. We have discs supporting us. We have muscles, tendons, ligaments, fluids, organs, energy, intention. There's so many things that are supporting the lift of our spine. Feel your breath. Notice where you might be tense, where you don't need to be. Just scan your body. Are there places in your skull, your temples, your jaw, your neck, your teeth, your eyes, your shoulders, maybe your palms? Just scan and find a place that you have a little pocket where you harbor tension. Try not to be like the squirrel, kind of pocketing nuts in its cheek. Tension doesn't serve very well. We don't have to save it for later. So just see what it feels like to let it go. Feel your breath expand. Feel the collarbones spread just a bit. Notice what this does for your shoulder blades. So as you broaden the collarbones away from the center line, can you feel the shoulder blades move slightly toward the center line? Try not to pinch, so don't sacrifice one opening for another part compressing. What does it feel like to lift the stout heart? That something more than just your physicality. That sense of resiliency, robustness, vitality, commitment, perseverance. See if you can lift that up. Breathe deeply, feel your ribs move, feel your diaphragm move, feel the space in your belly. Let's place our hands together at our heart and bow in. So even though we're bowing, can you not collapse? Can you lift the heart into the hands? Can you feel that sense of broadness, openness? Make an intention. And then release your hands, and let's come onto your back. All right, so lengthen through your spine. Stretch out on the floor. Reach your arms up overhead, and this is already a back bend. This is an instinctual thing we do to open up our spine. Often, you can find yourself doing this in the morning maybe. Just notice when you reach your arms, what does your thoracic spine feel like? Is there an openness in the chest? Can you take a deep breath and flare the bottom ribs? All right, and then relax just a little bit and start to move the posture into the sides of your body. So hike one hip up and stretch the other heel away. Feel the movement in the side of your waist as well as in the shoulders, just opening up the rims of the body. All right, and then go ahead and cactus the arms out to the side.
So just notice this is a great place to feel a baseline for your range of motion. So when you have your arms in a cactus or goalpost, are the backs of your hands able to touch the floor? So if not, if your hands, if only your fingertips can touch or your hands don't come to the floor at all, this is a sign that your subscapularis muscles, the inner part of your shoulder, one of the muscles in your rotator cuff is kind of tight, and this is an internal rotator, so it really can inhibit our back bends if this is tight. So just notice, and if it is, this is a good posture to lay in with cans of soup in your hands or weights in your hands, so you can start to stretch open that subscapularis. Stretch your arms overhead now, find your breath. Exhale, bring your knees into the chest and rock a little bit. Just check in with your low back, your sacrum. See if you can get that little massage across the top of the pelvis as you rock from side to side. And then let's circle the knees, moving them in one direction. Notice your sacrum, your sacroiliac joints. Just sense into what the back of the pelvis is feeling like today, and then go the other direction. Breathing deeply. All right, right knee into the chest, left leg long on the floor. Feel the extension and feel free to wiggle out your ankles. Roll through your feet, whatever range of motion is available to you. Wiggle out the toes, feel a good squeeze in the hip joint. And then let's go ahead and switch. Left knee into the chest, right leg long on the floor. Feel free to move your ankles about. Wiggle your toes. Feel the compression of your knee. Extend that right leg. Feel the spine grow in length as well. All right, and then join the right knee back up. Bring your knees apart from each other and back in. So feel free to rock on the pelvis a little bit. You can feel yourself tipping into an anterior and posterior tilt a little bit as you swivel your knees out and swing them back in. Find the range of motion, the arc of motion that is most comfortable for your hip joints. All right, and then spread out your arms and legs wide on the floor. Feel that spaciousness, stretching navel to your edges. And then exhale and bring your knees to your chest, head comes up. A couple more times. Inhale, broaden out your limbs, stretching from your center to your edges. Exhale, knees into your chest, chin up. Do that one more time. Finding the breath, expanding yourself open. Exhale, knees into the chest, chin up. Relax your head down onto the ground, arms out to the side. You can cactus them or straight out. And let's just windshield wiper our knees. And feel free to go into this movement with your arms too, just letting the sides of your body open. Sometimes I like to have my arms more in like a letter Y over my head, so I can stretch my arm in opposition to my knee. How's your breath? All right, let's go ahead and roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees, all fours. And let's start moving. So we've already moved our spine just a little bit in the starfish poses, but just see, how is your back today? Are you stiff? Do you have some pain anywhere? Is your range of motion as full as it can be? What's here? How's your low back feeling? How are your shoulders feeling? How's your neck? There's so many components to moving through some back bends that need to be open and stable. So just take stock of what's here now. Are your shoulder blades able to slide around on the back pretty easily, or do they get stuck? And then feel free to turn this pose into any kind of movement that feels good. You can move around in your neck, your shoulders. You can do some circles with your hips or sway from side to side. You decide what kind of motion your body's needing. Okay. Finding the breath. All right, and then curl the toes under and go ahead and come back towards child's pose. I'm nursing just a teeny bit of a ankle tweak, so don't mind me if I change, if I modify some things. So listen to what I say versus what I do. Stretch your arms overhead And then unwind your feet. Let your tops of your feet rest on the floor now. Walk the hands over to the left side of your mat. Open up the right rib cage. Feel the breath. Drop weight into the pelvis. Relax your head. And then come over to the other side, inching to the right. Feel a lot of weight come down into the pelvis. Relax your head. Discover your breath over and over again. It's our best friend. It's our best tool. It's our best resource. Come back to center. Curl the toes under and find your way into dog pose. And just notice, what kind of movement do you want to do? Do you want to pedal out your feet? Do you want to sway your hips? What kind of movement is your body calling for? Stillness? Is it vibration? Is it a sense of finding different ranges of motion? So just discover what's here. Lift and widen the sit bones. Hug your hands toward the midline. So invigorate the shoulders by using a lot of muscles. Your lats will engage when you bring your hands and hug them isometrically toward each other. You'll feel your torso kick into gear a little bit more, so your shoulder doesn't have to be burdened by the pose. Find your breath, root into the index finger mounds. Turn the eyes of the elbows toward each other, maybe up toward the sky a bit. Find that external rotation in the shoulders. And then walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Bend your knees as much as you want. Wiggle out your head, roll through your shoulders, your neck, any kind of movement that feels right in your body. Finding your breath. Okay. Inhale for a halfway lift. I like to put my hands on blocks, but maybe you like to put your hands on your thighs or your shins. And then exhale and melt back down. Fold. Let your knees bend. Let your spine rest a bit. One more time. Long spine, straight legs, thigh bones back. Exhale and melt again. Push off your feet. Rise up, reaching the arms to the sky. Maybe just a little bitty back bend here. Lean back to whatever place feels good. And then let's cactus open the arms. If you're nursing a shoulder that doesn't like to do this, just stay within the range of motion that works for you. Find the breath. Drop the shoulder blades down and hug them toward each other a bit. And then exhale and round in, forearms toward each other. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky, press your palms up. And then unwind your hands, grab onto your wrist and reach up and over to the side. I like to separate my feet hip width apart for a little stability. Inner spiral your thighs, finding the breath. And then come back up, change sides. Over to the other side you go. Reach and lengthen, try not to compress through your side. Think up more than down. And then come back up, cactus the arms. Imagine you're pulling yourself up on a pull-up bar, so there's effort in the back of your body. Do that a few times. Just imagine yourself pulling up, so the shoulder blades are working hard, the muscles between the shoulder blades are working hard. One more time, hug it on in. Okay, and then release the arms down. Take your palms out in front of you. And then we're just going to spin this way a little bit. So just waking up the back side of our rotator cuff. The palms are awake. Imagine you have platters in your hands. Open up, so as if you're serving your platters off to the sides. Imagine that we actually could be at a party with lots of people and there was someone serving some appetizers. Okay, so be that person with the tray of food. Bring your hands out to the side. Feel the shoulder, backs of the shoulder blades engage. And then back in. One more time. Finding the breath. Now hang out here for a moment and see what's active in the back of your shoulders. Find your breath and then reach your arms out. Palms are facing up, and now lift or touch your toes, bring your fingers rather, toward the earth. So the palms are open, spread out the palms. Inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. Exhale and fold forward. Halfway lift, the spine grows. Exhale and melt. Step your left foot back, your right foot comes forward into a lunge. Finding the breath, extend through your spine. Let's start moving, squaring the hips the whole way. You can drop your chin toward your chest as you straighten your leg a bit. Don't feel like it has to go all the way straight, just go where your body goes. The blocks can be on any height to support you, so if you need a little extra height for this posture, that's great. You decide what you need as you open up the legs
All right, let's go ahead and put our back knee onto the floor. Come into a lunge with your back knee on the ground. Hug your front heel and your back knee toward each other. As you open up the hip flexors on this leg, can you not fall into the pose? Feel that support. Hug into the midline with your inner thighs. Hug your front heel and back knee toward each other. Inhale. Maybe both arms come up. Maybe your shoulders don't like that. So you can take some platters. You can take your arms out, cactus up, hands together, hands on hips. There's so many choices. Find the stability of the legs and lift through your spine. See if you can feel your core support your posture. Exhale and release your hands down to the blocks or floor. Walk the back foot forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step your other foot back. So our left foot is forward, our right foot is back, coming into a lunge. Okay, start to move here. Squaring hips, bowing in. Squaring hips, chest forward. Keep breathing. Stay in the breath. Stay in the sensations of the body. Try not to collapse the heart. Even when you bow in, can the heart still be stout? All right, let's place our back knee onto the ground. Find the midline, find that front heel and back knee supporting each other. The back toes can curl under or lay flat, whichever is stable for you, whatever is good on your knee. You can always put extra padding underneath your knee. You can always avoid this and lift your knee and just be in a regular lunge. So there's always choices to modify and support what your body's needing at any moment in time. Find your breath. Maybe your arms are lifting, maybe they are not. See if you can support yourself with your core, with your legs. Find the breath. All right, and then release the hands down to the ground. Let's come onto our side for a moment. Come to lie down on your right side. We're just going to get some aliveness in our abdominal muscles and our deep low back muscles so that we're prepared to support the spine and back bends. Bring your hand to bring it over to the top of your head. Take a deep breath in. We're going to lift the feet and lift the shoulders and head up. Exhale on the way up, inhale on the way down. So your knees are bent, your knees are staying on the ground, your feet are coming up. This will engage the quadratus lumborum, your deep low back muscle, a really important muscle to keep stable in your body. It is kind of works in synergy with your hip flexors to stabilize your spine. All right, and then straighten your legs out. Lift your arms straight up in the air, and we're going to bring your feet apart from each other. Stabilize through the center core. Hug your obliques in. Cinch your waist like you have a sweat pants strap tightening around your waist. Find your breath. Deep breath in, deep breath away. And then exhale and relax. In between our two sides, we're going to come onto our mat and come into a forearm plank. So come to hold yourself steady. Shoulders are away from the ears. See what it feels like to not let your hips drop down, to not let them hike up, to find that straight line. If you want to hug a block between your thighs, you can do that. Shoulders are away from your ears. Feel that center body strength. Don't forget to breathe. Shoulders are away from the ears. All right, and now we're going to bring our knees down and come to lie down on our left side. The knees bend. The right hand comes onto the top of the head. We're going to lift our feet and lift our shoulders and our head up. On your way up, make sure you're exhaling. On your way down, inhale. This may feel counterintuitive, but it's good to get used to using your core on your exhales. This will marry the breath well. The knees are staying on the ground, just the feet are lifting up. All right, now from here, after this last one,
We're gonna straighten our legs, bring your arm in the air. You can always support, so however you want to support your head is fine. Bring your leg up in the air and bring your arm up in the air and stabilize through the center line of the body. Notice if you're wobbly, if you tend to roll toward the back or toward the front, this is okay. Just see what you can do to find the stabilization. Are you more or less stable on this side compared to the other side? Are you able to breathe? All right, and then when you're ready, come out of that and let's go all the way back up to dog pose. Lengthen through your spine, reaching through the heart up toward the pelvis, hug the hands toward each other again. Finding the breath. Inhale, lift your right leg up in the air, and let's stack your right hip over your left. Lift underneath your left armpit, lift your left hip up. Find the stretch of your right leg. Square the hips again, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, knee to nose. Feel free to keep the heart lifting forward instead of tucking in. Inhale, bring it back. Let's repeat that. Keep your head looking forward. Stout heart, knee into the chest. Inhale, bring that leg back. Exhale, bring your foot forward. Come into a lunge, climb up, crescent lunge. So find your way. You can always keep your back foot on the ground or your back knee on the ground if you need more stability. Take any variation with your arms that you want. Finding the breath, open the chest. Deep breath in, deep breath away. Exhale and twist to the right. Drop the shoulders down. Feel the heart lift. Feel the breath engage. And then coming back to center. Exhale and bring the hands back down toward the ground. Foot forward, halfway lift. Exhale and release. Come back. Don't worry, I won't forget the one-legged dog pose. Come into a lunge on this side and rise up. Crescent lunge here. Put your arms where is comfortable for your body. And that might mean one arm up. So maybe you have a shoulder that's not good going up in the air, but you want to feel that long spine extension. Then use one arm in the air. And so there's ways to modify everything. Hug into the midline with your inner thighs. Feel the roots. Ground yourself. Yield. Find the big breaths. And then exhale. Place your hands down. Lift that leg high in the air. Three-legged dog pose.
Jenny, we didn't do the twist.
Stack that hip over the other hip. Try to pay attention to the right side of the body. Lift under the right armpit and take your right thigh bone back. Deep breaths. Relax your neck. Square the hips. Take an extension as you exhale, knee to nose. Chest is forward. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, bring that leg back. Place your foot down. Let's come forward into a plank. Now it's different than a forearm plank, but we're still finding that deep center line of strength, hugging our spine. Deep breath in, deep breath away. And let's come down to the ground. Find your way to the floor. I know most of you have done this, if not all of you, but we're going to repeat it just so we feel the difference of what our core does for our lumbar spine. So allow your belly to fall into the earth. And we're going to lift your right leg up with no core support. And feel how compressive your low back is. And then release that back down. Now engage 360 around your torso. Use your transverse abdominis, pubic bone toward the belly button. And then go ahead and lift that leg again. See how much less height you can get, but there's a whole lot more stability in the lumbar spine. I'm hoping that's what you're feeling. And then let's release. Let's try both with the other side. So no belly support. Lift your leg as high as it will go. Fall into the floor. Notice, there's a lot of range of motion here, but it's not very well supported through the lumbar spine. Go ahead and place the leg back down. Restabilize. Pubic bone lifting toward the belly button. Cinch the waist in a little bit. Find your breath. Try not to lose your breath in the process. Stabilize the pelvis. When you're ready, lift that leg in the air.
without losing the stability that you've cultivated. Now notice what the low back feels like. Is there more wrapping, more support around that vulnerable lumbar spine? Who cares if your leg can't go up as high? Okay, exhale and release. Let's go ahead and so pick up your feet and just rock. Let's let go of that because sometimes that can be irritating. All right, and then place your legs back down. Let's do some shoulder circles. So shoulders up toward the ears, up toward the sky and back. Feel how slidey glidey your shoulder blades are. Find your breath, and then we're gonna lift up into cobra pose. Find the shoulder blades, find the support of the core. Exhale and melt back down. Take your hands into a cactus, okay? And if you are uncomfortable, try bringing your elbows closer to your torso instead of out to the side. So be in the range of motion that's right for you, and then lift up with no hands on the ground. Feel all the work. Stabilize your core, hug through your shoulder blades down into the spine. Find the breath, and then exhale and melt back down. Come up onto all fours. Maybe a cat-cow, maybe some swivels or swirls. Maybe, for sure, not just maybe, for sure, some good breaths. All right, let's find our way to dog pose. Lengthen through the spine. Inhale, lift your right leg up again. Exhale and bring that foot forward, come into a lunge. Bring your hand on the inside edge of your foot. Come into runner's lunge. Let the hip flexors of that back leg open. Lift the femur bone up, widen the sit bones. Create that stout open heart again. Shoulder blades are moving toward each other and down the back. All right, and then from here, we're going to bring our back foot forward, come into a deep squat, elbows inside the knees. Just see what's feeling good and what's not feeling good in your body. Okay, hang out here, extend through the spine. And then come all the way up, arms to the sky. Take a deep breath, lean back a little bit, heel toe your feet in. Let's take the opposite foot back. Left foot is forward, right foot is back. Come into a runner's lunge on this side. Keep your back leg lifting, unless you need to put your knee on the floor, which is a great modification if that's what your body is needing. Lift the femur bone, no matter, even if your knee's on the floor, widen the sit bones, shoulder blades down and toward each other, the collarbones broaden. Finding the heart, finding the length of the spine. Okay, and this time, let's step back, dog pose. Deep breath in, deep breath away. Come forward one more time into a plank. Finding the breath. Go ahead and lower yourself down to the ground. This time, everyone's going to take their elbows closer in toward the torso. So you don't want to, grab your torso with your arms, but bring them by your sides and turn your hands out. The palms are facing the floor, but we're going to turn our palms out. Feel the action in your shoulder blades. Engage there, inhale, and lift up to a back bend here. Support with the front body, the back neck stays long. Breathing. Hug the elbows down toward the pelvis and in. And then exhale and relax. Come back up one more time. Swivel, sway, whatever feels really good to you. Finding the breath. Bring your right foot forward. Come on up, and we're going to turn and open up to the side. So Virabhadrasana 2, let's just throw a couple of standing poses in here because they always feel good. All right, so find your way into Vira and maybe have some platters with your arms. Maybe your arms are palms up so you can feel the openness. You want the collarbones to broaden, the external rotation of the shoulders to happen. Turn and look out over your hand if you're comfortable. Feel your feet. Find your legs. Find the length of your spine, the support of your core for your spine. Deepen your breath here. We're going to slide the hand down the leg. Palm is facing up. Reach up into reverse warrior. Look up. Find this pose. What's feeling good here? All right, and then elbow on the knee, stretch open your heart. Maybe the arm comes overhead and you feel a full side body stretch. Maybe your arm needs to be in a different place. Press your feet into the floor. Find the back leg. Keep open and broad through your heart. Collarbones are broad. Okay, let's go ahead and come on up and let's turn and find the same pose on the other side. Okay, so turning your left foot out, finding the breath. Take a deep breath in, come into your lunge. Find Vera 2. So start with your platter arms, drop the shoulder blades, hug them toward each other, feel the backside of your rotator cuff, broaden across your collarbones. Once you have this, notice if your ribs pop out. See if you can integrate. And stretch your arms out. Palms are facing up. Drop the shoulders down. Put a little weight in your hands, a little rock in your hands. Feel the feet, ground, yield, and breathe. From here, we're going to find a reverse warrior. So slide that hand down the leg. Inhale, lift your arm to the sky. So it's a side bend. We're not turning this into a back bend, but we are opening the side of our chest. Find the breath. Look up if it feels okay. Stay in your lunge. Deep breaths here. Are you supporting with your core? Are your feet able to move into the earth to help your legs work? And then come out of there. Bring your elbow on your knee. You can always straighten your leg for a moment if you need a break. Stretch your arm overhead or any position. You can have your hand on your hip or out to the side, whatever feels good. Shoulders are moving down. Finding the breath. Move the work into your feet. Yield. All right, when you're ready, let's go ahead and come back up. We're going to swing back toward the front side of our mat for another dog pose. Lengthen through your spine. Find the deep breath. Okay, and let's walk our feet forward for a moment. Come into Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Rise up, push off your feet, reaching to the sky, lean back a little bit. So just a smidge of back bends here. Try not to overdo the lumbar spine. We're stable in the low back as we reach and open up. All right, and then release your arms down. We're going to take our hands facing toward each other. You can do this with the block too if you want. So you can hold the block between your palms. The elbows are in line with the shoulders. And we're going to slowly start to lift up. So when we do this, how do we do this without doing this? Without overarching the lumbar back. Can you keep the stable lumbar spine and start to lift through the thoracic spine as you do this? So the movement is a slight hugging of the block, but we want to keep the elbows from splaying out. This will integrate things a little differently. Draw the elbows back into the shoulders. Find the breath. Feel the work in the back of the body. Relax your neck. Okay, and then release and relax. Shrug your shoulders. Find your breath, maybe some big wide circles if it feels good. Interlace your fingers behind your back, open across your chest, and fold in half. Deep breath in and away. Relax your arms down to the floor. Step your left foot back, your right foot forward. Come into a lunge, put your knee down. We need a strap. Go grab a strap, just in case. You might need it. So I'll show this from the side. Okay, so our right foot is forward, our left foot is back. Find your breath. We're going to put our left hand on the ground, and we're going to reach back with our right hand and grab our left foot. Now, if this is not capable, if you're not capable of that with your range of motion, no problem. wrap a strap around your ankle so that when you come into the pose, you can grab the strap. Maybe your pant legs, whatever you have. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, open across the chest, hug to the midline with your inner thighs. Feel the stretch in your quad. Be on the front of, don't be right on your kneecap. Slide forward toward your femur bone. Hug into the midline. Extend the spine and twist on your exhales. And then release and relax that. Maybe you want to do dog pose in between, child's pose in between. Maybe you just need to recover and move the straps to the other side. Whatever you're doing, all is well. Let's take our left foot forward and come into a lunge on this side. You can pad underneath your knee more with extra blankets. Sometimes if your kneecap doesn't like this pose, just having a little extra padding can make a big difference. If you really are not okay with putting your kneecap on the floor, just stand up and do a quad stretch like this. You can hold on to your ankle, or you can grab a strap and put it around your ankle. So you decide what feels best to you. We're finding our breath, dropping the shoulder blades down the back, hugging to the midline, feeling the twist, opening the collarbones, engaging the core on the exhales. Lengthen the spine. All right, and then let's go ahead and relax. Come out of there, and let's walk our back foot forward. Inhale to stand up. Now this pose might require some support. Dancer pose, but we're going to do it slightly differently. So normally when we do this pose, we stand on one leg, we grab the foot, we reach the arm up, and we tip forward, which is awesome. So if you want to come into that variation, by all means come into that variation. If you want to have a little extra something, make your strap into a loop. Here, I'll come forward a little bit more so you can see. So make a loop with your strap, and we're going to wrap that around our left foot. I'm trying to do opposite of you. We're going to stand on the right foot, and we're going to bring our strap behind us, and we're going to bring our elbows, just like when we had that block, we're going to, instead of letting our elbows splay out, which tends to push our ribs forward, keep the elbows drawn in toward each other. So the elbows are shoulder width apart. We're plugging the elbows into the shoulder blades and lift. Start to walk your leg up, your hands down the strap. Feel the stability of your lumbar spine, like when we did that pose on the floor. Your standing leg is soft in the knee. Lift your heart. Find your breath. Try not to take the pose deeply into your lumbar spine. The hips are square. It does not matter how deep you go into this pose. Find your breath. All right, and then go ahead and find your way out of there. And we're going to transfer to the other side. So we're going to take the loop of strap around our right foot. We're going to stand on our left foot. And we're going to take the strap behind us. The elbows are in line with our shoulders. Plug the elbows down into the shoulders. Kick your foot. Start to tip forward a little bit and lift your chest. Walk down the strap to wherever place you go. Make sure your hips stay square. We're working with opening the hip flexors, opening the chest, but we're protecting the lumbar spine. Tailbone down, pubic bone up. Finding the shoulder blades, supporting the thoracic spine. Come into the breath. Soft knee that you're standing on. Breathe. Open the chest. Okay, and then go ahead and unwind your leg. Come out of there. Few shoulder rolls. Maybe a few shoulder swings. Deep breath in. Exhale, separate your feet and fold forward. Halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. I promise we'll do some recovery for your back and your shoulders, but we have one more back bend to do, and this one's passive. So heart bench If you don't have two blocks, no problem. You can do this with blankets. So we're going to have something, either blankets across between our shoulder blades or a block. Now, I'm not super tall. Sometimes I like this pose to have the block this way between my shoulder blades instead of this way between my shoulder blades. Every day is a little different, so I choose depending on how it feels. If you're tall, you'll want to have the long way. I'm 5'3", so if you're smaller than me, shorter than me, maybe try turning it this way. Just see what you're going to do. See what works best for you. We're going to come down, resting the block in between our shoulder blades at whatever width it wants to be. And the other one is one step higher underneath the base of your skull. Now, if you tend to have some jaw tension, temple tension, skull, base of the skull tension, this is an awesome pose to help you rest and relax. It's a passive back bend, which after everything we've done, you're very open and ready for that. I hope you're feeling very ready and open for this pose. You can do anything you want with your legs. So if you want to take your feet together and let your knees fall out like Supta Baddha Konasana, you can. You can have your legs straight, bent knees, feet on the floor, whatever feels good. And just mess around, adjust things until you feel like you have the pose, the props just where you want them to be. And then experiment. Do you want to cactus the arms for a moment and just let the shoulders stretch in this way? Don't do that for long if you're hanging. It might feel good for a moment, a breath or two, but then eventually I want you to have contact with the floor with your arms. So bring your arms out to a place where your hands touch the ground. What's here? How's your breath? Can you practice having an open heart? The more we practice having an open heart, the more natural it feels, the more resilient our open heart becomes. Where even when the pressures and weights of the world sit heavy on your heart is strong enough to stay open and hold what's there. Part of having a strong heart is not having a steel heart. So we need to have vulnerability. We need to have compassion, empathy. We need to be able to feel, to let the emotionality of things around us touch and open us. Part of having a stout heart is being able to withstand the sensation of pain. Hold it, let it move through you. Breathe it through you and let it pass. Instead of resisting, instead of caging, instead of steel caging around our heart. See if you can be the strength of water, always flowing, always moving, very strong, instead of the strength of steel. Let the breath move through you. Melt everything you can. Instead of feeling like we direct all of our thoughts and actions through the mind, what if you put the heart in charge? What if it was the leader? Analyzing your thoughts, analyzing what's your sensations, your feelings, choosing action based on what the heart says. Deep, full breaths.
Remember, this pose is always available to you. There's always some pillows or blankets around. You can always make a choice to pause, to consciously open the heart. When you do a small act of courage today, can you let it feel like this? Can you let it feel like, oh, that just made my heart a little stronger, a little more open, a little more capable? All right, let's go ahead and find our way out of there. So be careful, you're up on props. So bend your knees, come over onto your side, pause for a moment, bring your knees toward your chest. You can still rest your head on the block if you want. Just curl in. Take a breath into the back of the heart, expand the back ribs. And then we're going to come on to our back. All right, if you still have that strap handy, now's a good time for it. Lay flat on your back, bring your right foot into the strap. If you don't have a strap, you can always just hold the back of your hamstring with your hands. Okay, so stretching the leg up, extend the spine, move your femur bone away from your shoulder. Soft shoulders, have enough give on the strap where you're relaxed in your upper body. We're going to cross the leg over just a little bit. So take the strap into the left hand, open up the outer hip, move the femur bone away. Deep breath here. And then bend your knee, put your foot on top of your knee and come into reverse pigeon pose. So grab on behind your thigh or in front of your shin and put your ankle on your top of your knee or bottom of your thigh and draw your leg in toward your chest. Find the breath. Feel free to move around here. You can sway side to side. You could try widening your sit bones and have a slight nutation of the sacrum. That just means your tailbone dips toward the floor and the top of your sacrum lifts a little bit. Just feel what is good, what's good. Deep breaths. All right, and then unwind that. Put 2 feet on the ground for a moment. Just enjoy. Find the breath. And we're going to wrap the strap around your left foot. Lift that leg in the air. Your right foot can be on the floor or your right leg can be on the floor, whichever feels comfortable. Move your left hip away from the shoulder. Stretch up through your foot and down through your femur bone. The spine is growing. The breath is here. The shoulders are soft, so walk down the strap enough where you're not gripped in your neck and shoulders. All right, and we're going to cross the foot over to the right. So take the strap into the right hand. Left hand can be on the hip crease, pressing it away, finding the breath here. All right, lift that leg back, come into reverse pigeon pose on this side. Grab behind the thigh or the front of the shin. The left foot's on the right leg. Feel free to move around. So experiment with where you want your hands to be, where you want your pelvis to land. Experiment with what's giving you the sensation that you want. Where is the stretch? Where do you want it to be? Are you breathing? Let's go ahead and relax the legs down, 2 feet on the floor. Deep breath. Now, I hate to do this to you, but we're going to come up onto all fours. So roll over onto your side. I know you thought we were just staying down for the count, but I want to do this twist to help your shoulder blades. So let's just slide the arm underneath you. Feel the space between your shoulder blades open and broaden. Take a deep breath into the back side of your heart. Relax your neck. Let your head rest. Now, if you want, you can slide your torso to face the floor, the arms still underneath you, and slide back towards child's pose to stretch the outer shoulder a bit. And then come up, all fours, other arm slides underneath you, find the twist. Deep breaths here. Enjoy the space between your shoulder blades opening and broadening. And then slide back towards child's pose. Torso faces the floor. The arm is still underneath you. Just sliding it a little bit less deep in the twist. Feel the back side, the outside of your shoulder stretch. And then relax. Now you can come back onto your back. Bring the knees into the chest. Rock a little bit. Perhaps happy baby pose is here for you. Maybe that's too deep of a posture for you. You decide how you want to be. If you want to do any more twisting, so one of the regular twists we do often at the end of class, if you want to take a moment to twist each side, that's awesome. And then once you complete your twisting, knees back into the chest, you can pick your head up if you want, or leave your head down and just rock a little bit. As you find your way into Shavasana, decide how you want to be. Do you want to be flat on the floor, or do you want support underneath your knees? Do you want to have your limbs far, or do you want to have your limbs close? Do you need your head supported? Are your shoulders able to melt? Try picking up the shoulders and slide the shoulder blades down the back just a smidge. And then once you find ease, once you find a place where you're going to land, let yourself be comfortable there. Deep breaths. Melt the body. It's so important to feel the limbs fall. So the yielding, the giving yourself over to the earth, include every part of you. The base of the skull, all the muscles around your face, in your jaw, the tongue. Finding the breath, finding the exhales now. You feel as though the imprint of backbending is echoing through you, that you're open and relaxed, that you're free and at ease. Stay with that sensation. Just keep breathing.
begin to deepen our breath. Feel yourself touching the floor. Let yourself melt into the floor with your breath. All your limbs resting one more time. Feel your breath deepen and fill. Let's find our way into some movement. Whatever feels good to you. As you're ready, you can find your way onto your side. Take your time. Have a moment on your side to curl your body, rest your body. Take a deep breath here. And then as you're ready, you can start to bring yourself upright. Support yourself in any way you need. And as you come up to sit, see if you can reset the posture to be one of open-heartedness, stout-heartedness, where vulnerability, compassion, hope, strength, connection, fortitude, all these things can live. And with your open heart, let's bring our hands together and offer our intentions, our prayers, our efforts outward. Share your heart with another, someone who maybe is having trouble keeping their heart open in the face of all the challenges. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.